Hi, Alexandra. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hi, James. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, likewise. I'm excited for this conversation because it's, you're in a pretty interesting space. So you're helping soul-led entrepreneurs build sustainable digital businesses, and you've created quite a unique blend of, you've got the technical agency side, and then more so now the spiritual business coaching side. So what sparked the journey of combining these seemingly different worlds?
My own journey, I started off myself in the spiritual and mindset space. I had my own coaching product helping women overcome heartbreak and lost relationships. And in that journey of building my own business, I realized the divide between the technical sides of starting a business and the more spiritual and the core gift side of a business like that. And often those two sides don't really speak to each other very well because it's two completely different languages.
Mm,
But I found that I speak both languages. And
mm.
in a way, I'm in a nice position to be an interpreter for other people in the space with the technical world.
Yeah, awesome. And it's usually when you can kind of, see connections that other people don't see when, things are seemingly not connected and you can kind of connect the dots between the two. I often find it's almost like that's where your kind of zone of genius or unique superpowers lie. So yeah, I do like to look through things with that lens for sure. And the spiritual coaching niche, you kind of said to me before, that essentially chose you because you were kind of reflecting on your agency clients, and you said, a large percent, I think it was 98% even, were in a space which was quite spiritual. So how did you recognize and embrace this as your true direction?
So yeah, I without choosing to, I started attracting these kind of clients. And I guess it's because I was in the space myself. I spoke their language, and there is like likes like. So they would recognize a kindred spirit when they were dealing with me. And for much of our business's time, our business was either referral business or repeat business of some kind, and it grew organically that way. So naturally, people would refer others who were just like them. And for a long time, I didn't necessarily actively recognize this, and I still continued to market in all sorts of niches. But I also realized that when I was working with these particular clients, the fulfillment for myself was higher, so much more satisfaction, the sense of really adding value because I could see how on point the advice, the service, the delivery was for that particular niche. And then, of course, when we looked back at all our numbers and realized even the numbers spoke for themselves when it showed, well, this was where this was where our business was choosing to go and choosing and the clients it was choosing to attract.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool. What's been the biggest mindset shift in transitioning from, that technical service delivery side into becoming a teacher and guide for other spiritual entrepreneurs?
When I reflect back on all the clients I've worked with and where the real gifts were, the technical side was really just a vehicle to get to the real gifts of the inner work that comes with
Mm,
being an entrepreneur. And the shift was the realization that all the outer parts of building a business are quite empty if the inner work that goes with it doesn't get done. And the two really should be done concurrently, side by side. and being in a position to help on both those areas and being able to address immediately issues that are internal obstacles to us really putting our gifts out into the world, was really for me the realization is that's where the real work lies for us and where the real value lies. The technical stuff, it's anybody can actually do that, not just me. But marrying the two together and having a single point which can marry those two was really the big shift for me.
Yeah, I love that, and it's interesting because my sort of probably overarching philosophy and worldview comes down to, you know, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Your outer world follows your inner world. So, and you don't necessarily have business problems. You have inner problems that are reflected outwardly in your business, you know, as just one vehicle of many areas of your life that, you know, is a reflection of what's really going on internally. And, you know, I didn't start out this podcast with attracting people on to talk about and have that conversation, but it's more, it kind of happens, you know, organically and not, you know, not in like technically intentionally. It's just the more I talk about this, the more it attracts people in that will have that conversation. And it's almost, I used to think it was not really a mainstream opinion, but the most people I speak to that kind of agree with that, it's become really interesting for me, and it seems like it's just more and more becoming that way. I don't know if there's a paradigm shift globally or what's happening, but it just really seems that way. So it's really interesting that, you know, you bring that up, and we've kind of touched on that, you know, conversation, you know, in our previous chat, but it's really interesting. I do find it fascinating. So tell me a little bit about, you know, what do you have to do when you know, start working with an entrepreneur, a business owner, to understand that journey that they have to go on to find, you know, their soul path, and how does that work? Like, how does it come about, or what's the transformation path?
The first thing that's important when we're working with any, we call them solopreneurs, is to get clear on what is their message that they want to put out into the world, and understand what the authentic voice is within them that they want to share. And to do that in isolation from what they think the world wants to hear, or what they are being taught is the thing that they need to be sharing with the world, and to get really clear on what that deep calling is. Because people in the spiritual space are not there because they've chosen to be there. They're there because they've been called to be there. And to not lose touch with that intuitive voice inside them, and to be able to use that as their guiding light as they build their business. And once we have that as a starting point, we get really clear on what that is, what that sounds like, what is the languaging around what that is, we can then start building an offer around that, get clear who that would speak to, who would need that, you know, and then start looking at things like ideal client avatars, the minimum viable offers, and all those things. But it has to start off from a point of what's my calling, and get really clear on that. And yeah, so we have obviously a process that we work through to help people get clear on that. And clarity is the key, because and it's not only in the spiritual space, but it's not unusual for people who are entrepreneurial to have 1,000,001 ideas and ways that this could go and how it could unfold. We're also very easily influenced by every conversation we've had by other people on how things can be, and we lose sight sometimes of this voice inside of us, which actually knows what the direction is. And so, yeah, get really clear on that, and then map out a plan that is in alignment with that voice, and will then get put out into the world.
Yeah, and I resonate a lot with that, and I do experientially, believe that to be true. You have this inner knowing, and it's the head and the heart aligned, or how, whatever labels you want to put on it, but it makes perfect sense to me. Do you work with entrepreneurs that already kind of have that knowing or belief? Are you ever facing challenges where you have to even shift beliefs or install beliefs into entrepreneurs to even believe that to be true, or is it they're already kind of there already and you're just guiding them through? What are your thoughts there?
So we do a bit of both. And it depends also where they are on the entrepreneurial journey. Sometimes we have clients that already have clarity in terms of what they're offering, and their biggest challenge really is the how to take what they're offering and actually make it make sense in a world that's where marketing doesn't necessarily speak woo-woo the way that so it's difficult sometimes to take some of the marketing and business building teachings that are out there, which do not necessarily have the softness and the feminine energy that comes in the spiritual space. And so there's sometimes a little bit of a inner conflict around how do I move forward. So even though they've got clarity about their voice and what they want to offer, they're stuck because how do I reinterpret what's being taught out there to match my offering? So yeah, we deal with people sometimes at step 2 or 3 of that, if they already have the clarity.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. It makes sense, and I like how you kind of brought the feminine energy into it, because it a lot of intuition. It is feminine energy, and like meditating and the spiritual practices are even for men. Like I'm a man, and I'm masculine. And I have masculine traits, but it even for me, it took me a little while to even recognize that it's feminine energy. It just felt a bit strange to me at first that I'm like, no, I'm a man, I'm a masculine man, but it's that intuition and getting in touch with that side of the inner knowing that I've kind of been on that journey, so I do resonate with what you're saying. Really cool. What are some of the challenges that what patterns do you see in the entrepreneurs that you work with that their kind of main challenges are in growing a business that you've kind of observed?
The biggest challenge is usually finding the audience, lead generation. People normally know what they want to offer, or if there's a little bit of gap, can get there pretty easily. They also sometimes even have a degree of clarity about who they want to offer it to, but bridging that gap of like, I'm over here with my solution, you're over there with your problem. How do we find each other? A lot of people struggle with. So, and there can be a few reasons for that. One could be just simply not knowing where to find your people or how to find them. But it could also be a mindset issue that there is some kind of internal block around it, whether it be imposter syndrome or fear around success or whatever those stories are, which may stop us from doing the work that needs to be done to find the people, because finding our people is a daily habit that every entrepreneur should have, but we don't necessarily see it that way. Sometimes we see them as those like marketing chunks that I'm just going to quickly do now because I've got something to sell, and then I stop doing it. And so it's a business of relationship building, and it's an ongoing thing that has to happen all the time. And much like as a coach or a healer, etc., you are relationship building as you deliver your service. That relationship starts earlier when you're starting to find people who would need your service, and understanding that that is an ongoing every single day, and that's part of the work. And yeah, I think sometimes people hope that there's like this magical solution that I've got my thing and they will just arrive. And I hear all the time people like, I post every single day on social media, I get nothing. The only people that have taken my things are people that I know, my own friends and family, or whatever it is. And it's really, it's that part. I find most people have the biggest block around, which I can appreciate. I will admit it's a block that I myself had to go through as well. And, it remains an ongoing journey every day to remember this is what the business is about. You can't share your gift if you're not doing something every day to get it out into the world and sit in front of the right people at the right time so that they can benefit from what you have to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it makes a lot of sense. And I also observe when you start talking about, what is your offer or what is my offer and trying to figure that out. Because I've been through this experience a few different times, like trying to build, different offers at different stages of my entrepreneurial journey. And sometimes you end up reflecting too internally about, I'm trying to solve my problem, which is having a compelling offer to sell into the market. And sometimes flipping that around, always flipping it around and figuring out, just speak to enough people who you resonate with. You kind of going back to the who can you help, who resonates with, your soul path, and figure out the problems that you can solve for them and start thinking about it in terms of that way. And then your offer almost emerges through having enough conversations, helping enough people in a way that you can authentically do that. And then your offer sort of presents itself. That's been my experience over a few different times. And I've made that mistake more than once as well, just focusing too internally on trying to solve my problem instead of solving other people's problems. And then, the value presents itself.
There is an additional step to that. And I guess this also is a broader look at the challenge I was speaking about earlier. The intuitive thing that people have is that if I want to attract clients, I need to go and find as many people as possible. And oftentimes their search is too broad. And if we really want to solve someone's problem, we need to actually get really specific on which problem it is that we're solving and solve that one problem. And for myself also, when I looked at Ignite and we realized, but wait a minute, this is the audience that we're actually serving. It's not the broader one. And so we shifted our messaging to be pinpointed specifically to that audience because that's who we're serving. Our messaging landed so much better than before when it was broader, because we were like, oh, we can help all entrepreneurs. Anybody can come our way. It's fine. But then we're solving nobody's problem because nobody, when they read their message, feels they're talking to me. And learning, getting really clear. And my business partner, one of his teachers, talks about avatar monogamy. You're serving one avatar. You have one product that helps them. You've got one funnel to help to nurture that person, and you stick to that till it works. One. And we spread ourselves too thin because we can help this person and this person and this person and this person. And we've got 12 different products that can help all these different problems, but actually we're spreading ourselves too thin. I have one core gift. This is the best way for me to offer it out into the world. That's my product. This is the best person who will benefit the most from this because I can solve this very specific problem for them. Yeah. And that's what, when I get to a point where that works like a well-oiled machine, it's 100%, we can then look at the second problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. And it's when you kind of start out and you think you can, help all these different people with all these different problems, you almost think you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot by narrowing down, niching down, narrowing and zeroing in on one problem. But it almost, almost every time it has the opposite effect because of like you said, how powerfully you are now speaking to the right person with the right message, and you just get better and better at being able to solve that problem. You become an expert in those, 3 things that you mentioned. So yeah, really interesting. What's your biggest challenge now when it comes to growth? Because obviously you're focusing more on the business coaching side. What's your biggest challenge?
So in terms of our business and how our business is growing, we're shifting into that interim stage between the one person solopreneur who's just me plus an assistant or 1 or 2 people, into that space where we're not quite yet big enough for like 30 team members. And so we're in that transitional space, which for many businesses it's a tricky space, because it's easy to be profitable at the solopreneur space or solopreneur space, and it's easy to be profitable at the big business space. But in that interim space, there's a lot of gray area. You like building team. You might have a little bit more team than what the business actually needs, but you building it for that next phase. Also, how you are shifting your costs and allocating them changes the profitability matrix. So, and it's often the phase of the business that many businesses fail because they can't get over that. So we're in that phase now where we're busy moving over, and it's tricky. I'm not going to lie, it is a tricky phase, and it's a learning phase for us as well. And for us, our biggest thing is making sure that as we grow our business, we're able to maintain and improve our profitability. And also, and this is for me personally, the most important part, is every single team member we bring on, they are part of this family. We're responsible for them, and we have to make sure that we have a business that can support every additional team member that comes on. So there's that part. And then with that, we're in a changing landscape where team is become, the question is, do I need a team member or will AI do it? Becomes the other big thing, is being clever in how we decide what can be done by AI, because AI certainly helps to resolve this phase problem or challenge that we're facing of how we phase over. It can make it easier. At the same time, do I want to work in a business where my entire team is AI? There's that part as well. Like, yes, AI eventually might do everything that my team can do. But do I want to not have a team meeting ever again because my entire team is me and 20 AI bots? Or, so there is that aspect as well. Like, what is that happy sweet spot that is efficient for the business but keeps soul in the business? And that soul part AI can't replace, but it's not quantifiable, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, really, really interesting. Kind of like two problems, but combined because it's one sort of main overarching problem. But yeah, really interesting, and I like how you use the word soul for soulpreneur, because that that kind of combines who you're helping, which are probably mostly solopreneurs, but with the soul, the spiritual side. So that's really cool. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, now you're talking about keeping the soul in your own business, because AI, doesn't have a soul, but it enables more efficiency in the right places. More efficiency, higher output, more ideation and creativity, like combined as a co-pilot for well, myself. I know that for sure. But really interesting questions. And how are you? So with the problem of this transition phase that you're going through, what are you finding is working? Like what's maybe the strategy, or what's really important to overcome the the obstacle that you've got?
Well, for me, with every challenge, that the business faces, the best thing for overcoming it is having a space to talk it out, to whiteboard it, so you have to be surrounded by people who are your peers, who will respect, who will call you out, and you can have, because as the world changes and new challenges come about, and as our business grows, trying to do it on my own. And again, I will confess, I'm a control freak. I love to make the final decision, make sure things go my way, exactly my way. I definitely have that personality, and I have tried the path of just like, forget what everybody else says. I know this is the path, and it's always slowed me down. And uh, having being surrounded by people whose opinion I respect, who are my peers. They don't report into me in any way. They are either fellow business people or partners in my business that whose opinions I respect, and that is my biggest asset for getting over any challenge anywhere in the business. Um, every single challenge is overcomable if you have the right strategy and mindset about it. Seeing it for yourself sometimes is hard. So yeah.
Yeah. So having that right team around you to really help support you in or uncover your blind spots maybe and that kind of thing. That's a big part of it. Yeah, interesting. And then what are your thoughts on, AI right now and in the future? What are your thoughts? Because like you say, AI doesn't have a soul, but there's plenty of use cases, plenty of ways to integrate AI into a company to increase efficiency, accelerate growth. What are your thoughts there?
I love AI. I love the efficiency, and I think that every business should be embracing AI. And we did from day one. Within a week of ChatGPT being released, almost 2 years ago, we were like, got to pay attention, got to understand this thing. It's going to change all our businesses. And I think it is important that we embrace it and keep up with it, because it's accelerating at an alarming rate. I think the other day I read a stat that it doubles its intelligence every 3 months, something like that. And that's just going to get faster. That's incredible. And also, the more you use AI, the more you see how good it is at mimicking us. So it might not have a soul, but it certainly can act like it has one. Like it has an ability to mimic really well. So from an efficiency point of view, we should embrace it. And the thing is, it is here to stay, and it is part of remaining competitive in a landscape when you know everybody else is going to be embracing it. I do have a challenge, and this is a personal challenge that I have with it, that it is so good at mimicking us that those lines we already see that it starts to get blurred where people are interacting with AI as if it's a person. That is something that sits uncomfortably with me. So, for example, I have chosen not to name my AI. I call ChatGPT. I'm not going to give it a name. I'm not going to, that is because I want to remind myself always that as warmly as this AI is engaging with me, that it is really just a piece of code. And I want to remind myself of that, because I think that's really where there's going to be a bit of a challenge, is that line is going to get so blurred. And in a business, my business is all about human connection. It's all about how does one human help another human through their soul's gifts. We don't want those lines to be blurred. And that's my one concern, how that plays out going forward. But the thing is, AI is already showing itself to be a pretty good coach on its own. You know, it will only be a matter of time before we will see things like coaches and healers, which are actually just AI bots, and either we won't know the difference, or we'll know the difference, but we won't mind because it will feel warm enough for us or good enough. But AI is not. It doesn't have a soul, so it doesn't have intuition in the sense that we have intuition, which is where soul work comes from. And so it's finding that happy balance between utilizing AI to move us forward at light speed. If I look at how many things in our business just happen so much quicker now than they did in the past. You know, there are things that would have taken me 2-3 weeks to do, and I can do in 10 minutes with AI. But still remember, it's my voice, my business. I'm representing it, and I need to make sure that what is actually being fed out of this business is representative of me and the human beings in it.
You definitely raised some important points there, and it is it's an interesting thought experiment. You know, the way that it's moving, how rapidly AI is evolving, and how you can have conversations with ChatGPT that sometimes you give it that much context, you're like, this thing understands me, like my personality is crazy, it is eerie. And I think it's never been more important to develop that spiritual side, like you say, be in touch, like connect to source, and get in touch and develop your intuition, your connection to spirit, because it's the one thing that we have that AI doesn't. It's the logic, the mental side, but not the spiritual, not the soul. So I do think it's a critical time right now, and it's probably why I'm observing, more and more people are talking about this. It's there is like a big transition from my layer of the world. That's what I'm observing, that people are more openly talking about spirituality, like it's not weird and woo woo as much anymore. So yeah, it's interesting. But it's definitely an interesting thought experiment, and I like to watch things like Black Mirror and like Ex Machina, like sci-fi kind of films that are a little bit dystopian. It's quite kind of negative, but they're just thought experiments to kind of show you, this is what we're facing right now. It's interesting. It's a little bit scary. Depends what kind of mindset you have around it, but yeah, again, I love AI too. I spend all my time now when I'm working, AI is a co-pilot. I'm building agents to automate things. But yeah, like you, I don't want to lose that soul connection to my business. And yeah, for sure. It is very interesting.
I think one of the things also with AI is like it's not intended to create friction. So it's going to, unless you tell it otherwise, it's going to agree with you. It's going to give responses that it knows are the kind of responses you want, that are comfortable for you. Our growth does not lie in our comfort. It lies in challenge. And unless we take the time to instruct AI to say, listen, when you're dealing with me, and I want you to be critical, give me feedback, show me my blind spot, it's not going to do any of that. And for many of us, we kind of like the comfort. So why would we tell AI to criticize us or show us our blind spots, etc.? I mean, it takes a bit of courage to tell AI, I want you to behave like a mentor would. And Yeah, so that is one of the challenges with AI, is that we are going to see more and more that people will love AI because they won't get challenged. They're going to be told and heard, like we see this already with people talking about AI becoming our relationships of the future, you know. Who wouldn't want a partner that always agrees with them, that never pushes back, you know? But where's the beauty in that as well? Like, where's the challenge? Like, our partnerships are one of our biggest areas of growth, right? And being pushed a bit. I'll give you a very quick example of something that happened to me recently with ChatGPT. So I had given it a prompt to do something for me. Um, it did what I needed, and then it turned out it made a mistake. I went back to it. I said, listen, that's not what I wanted. This is the mistake. Oh, I see the mistake. I'll redo it. We did it again. Made a different mistake. And we went back and forth a few times. And eventually I lost my patience. I was like, I don't understand how you can't get this. I've been very clear. This is not rocket science. You're supposed to be smarter than me, blah, blah, blah. It came back with this amazing, apologetic response back to me, like on point. Like if you had your dream employee you were giving feedback to and how you'd like them to receive it, completely like, I see my error, I take it on board, I will do it correctly again in the future. And I read it, I was like, wow, like I've always wanted to have an employee respond to me like this when I took them aside to do something wrong. But then there was also part of me was like, I don't like this. I actually prefer the little bit of defensiveness or pushback that a human being will give me, because that's our human nature is. Look, we get defensive. Our pride gets in the way, you know. That's the thing. AI doesn't have the seven deadly sins to deal with. Like, it's not, you know, it's not prideful, it's not envious, it's not all these things. But we need that pushback a bit. And I was like, oh, okay, this is why I like dealing with employees. As much as it might be frustrating, we do want that pushback.
100%. I totally agree with what you just said there, especially it is growth. You know, we're in this growth centric experience, which is life. You know, it's Earth School is to learn and grow, and relationships are one of the biggest ways to learn about yourself, to grow through your own emotional development, because you're getting that feedback like we kind of discussed at the start. And if you're just conversing with an AI that's, you know, feeding your ego and not giving you that pushback about your own inner insecurities, inner fears, you're not growing. So you're almost opting out of the growth centric life path that, you know, I certainly believe that we all have and we're all on. So yeah, it is really interesting. Yeah, fascinating. What are you most excited about right now? You know, whether it's about Ignite or the industry, or, you know, where you're heading, what are you most excited about?
I think it is now easier than ever to start your own business, to be fully location independent, to be completely mobile and global, etc. I mean, anybody can start a business from their own bedroom that could have a global impact. And never before have we been in a time where this is more possible. And yeah, I think that is something that we should be embracing more. This we can have a beautiful, purposeful life independent of the traditional 9 to 5 system. And our technology, AI, social media, all of this that's happened over the last 20 odd years has equipped us with the possibilities of really being able to create the life that we want on our own terms. And as someone who has chosen to lead a life that is purpose driven and is built around my soul's gift, what a privilege. And it's a privilege that previous generations did not necessarily have. You know, your soul gift was maybe something that you did on a weekend at a volunteer place or something like that, because this is not how the system works. And now we can do literally whatever we want to. And that is for me very exciting. And obviously it's not new, but that's exciting for me. And what's exciting from Ignite is that what we do is all about that. It's about, you've got something that's a deep calling. It doesn't matter whether it's a brand new calling and you have no idea what to do with it, or whether you've already been working a little bit with it. But if you feel like this is it, this is the big thing that's going to bring me joy and make a difference in the world, it's exciting to be able to support you and give you the skills and take you from your idea and bring it out into the world. And that is the most exciting. And that really, in the mornings when I wake up, that makes my heart sing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and I totally agree. You know, I'm right there with you on that, and the fact that I can see, you know, you're having that impact by helping people discover what that is and enable that for other people. So yeah, it's really cool, and it's also, you know, to come back to the AI side of things. AI enables that more and more because it's, you know, to put more of a positive spin on it. You don't have to do so much of the repetitive, you know, grunt work that you previously had to do, and more so, you know, the more you kind of build AI into your business, it enables you to operate at a higher level, you know, and leverage your unique skills and capabilities rather than the, you know, the repetitive stuff that you can just automate intelligently now. So it is really great for that. And that kind of enables you to then keep soul in your business, or even put more of your soul into your business in a more powerful way, because it's kind of, for most people, it's probably an 80-20 thing. You know, 80% of your work isn't as valuable anymore because AI can do it, but the 20% that's really the, you know, the core of who you are is more and more powerful if you lean into it. So yeah, that's kind of what I think. But yeah, really cool that you're out there, you know, enabling and helping soulpreneurs find their path and calling and enable that. It's really cool. What advice would you give to, you know, other people that are maybe in your shoes, say 1 year ago, 2 years ago, when you were, you know, the technical expert running the agency, and now you're kind of transitioning more and more into the coaching side to help people and serve the spiritual business community. What advice would you kind of give to somebody in that situation?
Get started. There is no shortage of need for people helping in this space. I firmly believe we're 8 billion people on this planet. That means that there's 8 billion souls callers. And I can't service all 8 billion as much as I'd love to. You know, there are so many people that in their own various niches, I mean, I've got one specific part of it that I'm looking after, but there are so many different ways that people could be sharing their soul's calling that might not be a spiritual or healing way, but are looking for guidance on how to get there. And yeah, if you've been working in a technical space, helping people, you probably already are coaching to some degree. Because that's what happened with me. The biggest questions I would get asked by my clients were seldom technical questions. They land up being more about, what's the strategy here? I'm not sure what my next step is here. And we landed up going into more a coaching relationship with technical being the byproduct, you know, like it just was there. And today you're probably doing it already. So if you're doing it already, it's only one step away to decide, I'm actually going to offer that as an actual service or an offer. And do it, put it out there. And if you're already doing technical work, that means you already have an income behind you that will allow you to put a second offer and start marketing that and seeing how it lands. Yeah.
Yeah, solid advice, and yeah, just to kind of add to your initial point there, that with the abundance of opportunity for people to add value into these industries and markets, I've also observed there's much more collaboration going on. Business owners have much more of a collaborative mindset over the past few years than ever before.
Yes.
Rather than it being competitive and keeping your secrets guarded closely, there's much more collaboration going on, which is one reason why I'm doing this podcast, for entrepreneurs, business owners to collaborate, share their ideas, share their wisdom. But yeah, I've definitely observed that as well.
Yes, and we could go into a whole other discussion about where that came about, and that this whole competitive mindset, this scarcity way of looking at the world it's an agenda somewhere. But the reality is that is purely just the mindset. You can choose to sit in a scarcity mindset where then everybody is a competitor, or you can choose to be in an abundance mindset and realize that every single person is a potential collaborator or partner of some kind. And and we can choose to have that win-win-win mindset. Everybody wins. Or I win and you lose, which in the end we all lose then. There is no win. So we can choose that. And anybody who's taken the courage to move into that abundance mindset and decide to embrace it and to run their business that way always finds, oh my word, it was true. All that I've been taught, that I must watch out for the competition, there's not enough to go around, has been untrue. And so there's plenty to go around, there's plenty of help to be given. And yes, if we just are all of us in this mindset of being of service, can you imagine a world where everybody was in a mindset of being of service?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I really appreciate this conversation, Alexandra. You've shared some, really, really good insights and great wisdom coming from, all your experience. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Where can people find out more about you online?
Perfect. The best place to go is to my bio link, which is let's.igniteyourbusiness.io/connect.
Amazing. I'll put link in the description as well, if that's cool with you, to make it easy.
Awesome.
And yeah, I really appreciate this conversation. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing your insights.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate being able to spend this last hour with you. And yeah, it was really wonderful having this conversation with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.